Hello everyone, welcome to the grand finale on this section of my build journey, which is power. But before I get started with my VIP guest who is standing patiently on my right, I thought, you know what, our day jobs gives us the luxury of equipment and time to film these hobbies of ours, so why not give them a plug? So my day job is Think Global Logistics, where we take the headaches out of logistics. So if you're sick of going through laundry lists of invoices, reconciling with quotes, all the while don't feel like you're getting the service or actually feel in control of your logistics, speak to us. And the man behind the camera is the leader of Pump Creative Digital Marketing Services, all things marketing. So SEO, Google Ads, website build, animation, videos, all of that stuff. Look for Pump Creative. Back to today's main course. Intro to the video you would have already seen about me and Lachlan talking about power. I want to have a bit more deep dive as promised on that video about what a portable power station actually means for someone like me or for any one of you who is looking to get into the hobby of going to the outback and explore. Lachlan and I met at a trade show, the Sydney Build 2025.
That's right.
I was walking around and I saw Bluetti stand. I knew that was a portable power station brand because they're one of the more prominent brands out there. And I just thought, you know what? I'm building this troop carrier. You can see behind me, there's a few things done already. I need to answer the power question. So I thought, well, here's Bluetti. Let me go on a stand, have a chat. And sure enough, within a couple of minutes, Lachlan appeared like a genie and he goes, let me answer all your power questions. So I invited him here to explain to us what this thing means to this particular hobby. Is it a real alternative to the traditional 12-volt system that we've all been sort of educated on or been told about? So Lachlan, can we have a quick run through what the two units you have on display here?
Okay, so just with these two, two vastly different units. So obviously the first one is the AC180P. This is your weekender. This is one, I personally have one of these because it's perfect for me for my weekends away. Just 2 nights maximum sort of thing. One's my fridge, can top up a laptop, can do a phone, you know, maybe drone, something like that. Handles all of that. I don't need any other inputs. I've tested that one out to run my King's 50-litre fridge. Lasted 6 days.
Wow.
Amazing. So this one is just your small, very light, like it's 15, 16 kilos, which means that you can throw it around. I've tried using bigger ones for my camping trips and just to reach into my ute and move it around if I need to be heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah. Heavy. So that's about as heavy as I'd want to go.
Right.
So that's why I love it so much.
Right.
Enough power, enough capacity, and that's basically how it sells, is because it's a bit of an all-rounder. This one here I brought along just because it's brand new. Bit of an overkill for what this is, but it just sort of shows you the difference and figuring out your power and your capacity requirement to handle what you need to do.
Okay, well, on that, let's dive in.
All right, so.
Okay, I can see some numbers here.
Right.
Can you equate that number quickly to a 12-volt system, someone who'll be well seasoned at a 12-volt system, so that we can scratch that itch for them?
All right, so this one here, 3,840 watts, all right? So that is the inverter size. So most 12-volt setups will run a 2,000 or a 3,000 watt inverter. This one's a 3,800 watt inverter, but it will accept loads up to 7,000 watts for short periods of time as well. So it's got that surge ability as well. This one here, watt hours, all right? So 2,700 watt hours of battery capacity. Now, if you convert that to 12 volt, all right, that turns into a 230 amp hour battery at 12 volts.
Right.
All right. Now, the reason we don't use that is because these are not 12 volt batteries.
Yes.
The batteries in this is like a 51 volt battery
so far
system.
more powerful than a 12 volt.
Correct.
Right.
That's the different factor that these power stations have over your traditional 12 volt systems. We use a higher voltage, therefore we can keep your amps low and make it a lot more compact.
So earlier you were talking and you're saying this particular unit, right, for laymen like me, guys, I'm a layman, I don't know any of this. I'm not an auto electrician, and frankly, when I started talking to the folks that were helping me to design it, they were really speaking gibberish to me. And to be honest, it's still a lot of gibberish to me.
It is.
What I want to know, before I get into the weeds of all this technical stuff, is that what is that equivalent of in a 12-volt system? And you explained to me earlier on that this particular unit here is the equivalent of having multiple batteries in a 12-volt system in a setup like this.
Correct, yeah.
Which very few of us would have a multiple batteries. I mean, there's a good number of you who will have 2 batteries, but I think most people like myself who go, they just have 1 extra battery in addition to their car battery.
What you've got a lot of people will do is, especially Australians, they're actually the best or worst at this, is that they'll really go, all right, what do I need? Go bigger.
Yeah, right. So
a lot of people, for whatever their setup is, they'll get their recommendation and they'll go, all right, look, you only need 1 battery or you need 2 batteries. A lot of people will be like, well, just give me 3, or I'll just go a bit overboard so I don't have to think about it.
Right.
Which is great. It's a good way to be.
Right.
I mean, but what it means is that in that 12-volt setup, everything is broken apart. Everything is separate. So your battery is separate. Your inverter is separate, which changes the power in the battery, which is stored in as DC, into AC to be able to plug in all of your stuff. Then you're going to have your battery management system, so BMS, your MPPT controller, which allows your solar panels to be able to smooth that power out, to be able to charge up your batteries. And then obviously your DC outputs as well. So this one here, not big on DC output. It's only got a 10 amp output based on just this. So that's its downfall as far as camping and that sort of stuff. A lot of people have their setups revolve around having everything working on a DC circuit, which is great. It's a more efficient way of working. The focus here is to keep it on the AC.
Right.
Whereas you get to this one, right, or any of our bigger units, they all have the ability to do up to 30 amps, and this one will come with an attachment that allows for 50 amps of DC output, which is kind of unheard of in the world of portable power stations now.
In a traditional use case, for example, like me, I'm building this thing for me to go away somewhere for about 2-3 weeks. And I'm never going to be stationary at one location for longer than, say, 48 hours, which then I'll drive maybe another 5, 6, 7 hours to my next location. Say I have this little unit here. For me to run the usual suspects, which is maybe to heat up a water system, maybe to run some induction cooker, keep my fridge cold, and then charge my phone or laptop or whatever it is I need charging. Is this adequate?
For everything that you want to do there, that with its 1800 watt inverter, probably not.
Okay.
If you weren't using the cooker, if you weren't using a heating element for like water, you take away those because they're very, very, very heavy on power. Any heating element is very power hungry.
Right.
So those things are probably going to need around 2000 watts just to run. So this will do it, but you'll only be able to probably use one of those things at a time.
At a time.
Or get one started, get it heated up, and then the power will drop. So you could probably use it, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I would imagine when we go over there, especially in Australia, most of us will go to Outback, which is usually kind of gonna be hot. So a lot of us will probably require a fridge because we're going off grid. We want to keep everything cool. So the fridge has to sort of be always attached to that thing.
Always.
Right. So I guess that's the indispensable sort of power draw. The cooker, like you said, high draw, but 15 minutes each time, really. You're not going to really cook things when you're camping for longer than that.
That's right. But you've also got to remember, when you turn it on, all right, and you're first getting that heat into it, the power is going to spike up to that 2000 watt. But then as everything heats up, everything warms, you'll be able to watch. And this is the beauty of these screens, is you can watch live or on your app exactly how much power is being drawn from that particular device plus whatever else you've plugged into it as well. So you can see that it's usually just a startup, and then the power will come back down and settle into something maybe 600, 700, 800 watts or something like that, depending on the cooker. So you're able to then manage how much you need.
On your previous example, you said you used that unit that kept your fridge running for 5 days. But did you use it to cook at the same time?
No, because I use a gas barbecue.
Use a gas barbecue, right, okay. Well, let's face it, I mean, like, a lot of us, even though we want the induction cooker and all that sort of stuff, it's nice to have, but a lot of us, if we're camping, if we're confident with a bit of fire pit or something, we normally, or a gas can. I mean, I see a lot of these trucks running on gas cans. They normally use gas cookers anyway. Now, how long to charge these things?
You can go from 0 to 80% on this one in 45 minutes.
based on how much watts is going in.
So you plug it into the wall.
Yeah.
This thing will accept 1440 watts
Right.
from the wall.
Solar blanket, 100 watt solar blanket and 200 watt solar blanket.
Always remember that whatever the number is on the solar panel that you've got
Yeah,
will never be able to achieve that number.
right.
So you're always going to be charging it a little bit less than that. So let's say you got a 200 watt
Yeah.
solar panel.
Yeah.
If you're putting say 150 watts into it, that's going to take close to 10 hours to get that back in. If you add the DC charger, like our charger one, that's going to be able to put it in at 500 watts, which means it should take about 3 hours to charge this.
Me driving to my next location generally is going to be at least about maybe I say no less than 4 hours of driving to my next location. It should be adequately charged,
100%.
that unit, for me to use at my next site.
Absolutely. So that's always the thing that you want to think about with these is you go, how much output power do I need? How heavy? How much power do I need to run with all of my stuff combined? How long do I need to run them for? And you can easily sort of work back and go, well, I only need this for this long. You can start to get a picture of how much power and how much capacity you're going to need for those periods of time.
This is where I think a lot of the folks that does this sort of stuff, especially let's call it the silver foxes, you know, the grey hair brigades, the newbies like me, sort of come undone. Because we haven't been familiarized ourselves with that type of language and that type of understanding. And even then, what you just said makes total sense. Read the label of your device, calculate the numbers or what have you. This is where we start getting a bit, you know, like, oh, my head's start getting a bit dizzy. You got to calculate what, you know, it becomes a mathematical equation type of thing.
That's what
right?
That's what it turns into.
Yeah. I didn't want to go full hog into a full permanent setup.
Right.
Because I'm new to the sport. Even though I like the idea of a turnkey, it's convenient. You have all the whiz bang, all that sort of stuff.
Good. They do look good.
But the point for me is that I decided against it. One was budgetary restraints because it's a lot of money. But at the same time, when you're new into it, I didn't want to jump in head first and go, well, I've just spent all this money into this hobby now, which I've never used before. I might not like it.
That's right.
But then again, because I spent so much money in it, I then get hostage to it. Then I'm forced to sort of like it because like I've just spent upwards of $200,000 building this fixed thing in there.
Yeah.
So that's why we're sort of peeled back and gone bit by bit, sort of more pragmatically.
That's where they shine against your traditional 12 volt system.
Yeah.
The 12 volt systems are, don't get me wrong, they do everything that these can do.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they can do a few bits and pieces a little bit better because you can really drill down into exactly what you need personally for your setup, right?
Yeah.
But where do you think the main cost in that 12 volt system setup is?
Wiring, labor.
Labor. Because you're installing it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're taking all of these parts and then you've got to know how to bring them together.
Yeah.
You've got to wire them all together, labor that goes along with
Yeah.
it. And that just blows it out of the water.
It blows out of water.
Right.
So I mean, like, what do you think? I mean, a traditional 12 volt system, put it in, labor and all, I don't think you're going to get much change out of $15,000.
Now, I've had customers come to me with 79 series that they've done 30 grand.
Holy shit, yeah. But that's what I mean, you know, like, how many of us out there have spent that money on a system that we actually know how to fix ourselves?
Ah, there you go. That's a big difference.
And I want you to think about that, guys, because I don't know, like, it looks great, looks shiny, looks fantastic. Never used the system before. I don't know what suits me. I'm sure it will. But if something goes kaput, I don't know how to fix it in the middle of nowhere.
Don't
Impossible, I've no idea. So I have to
100%.
drive to the nearest place or something, get someone to fix it, which is more labor, more money to get into it. I'm sure these systems are robust, but I'm just saying, like,
Oh, absolutely.
but then I'm thinking, for a newbie like me, I'm not talking about all of you professionals who install your own stuff. That could be the pro for getting a 12 volt if you did it yourself.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not bullshit brakes, you know exactly how to go fix it. How many of us actually knows how to fix these 30,000 systems? Trust me, I don't. No idea. I'm going to be up shit creek whichever way you spin it, right?
Yeah.
12 volt, don't know how to fix it.
Yep.
This kaput, I don't know how to fix it. But then I take the system back into town. Lucky, fix it, give me a new one, done.
There you go.
No cost if it's warranty, right?
That's right.
No cost. Got a 12 volt, cost immediately. You've
got the cost involved in taking that out and another one going in. You really have to go into this when you're selecting whether or not you're going to go with a portable power station like this, whether you're going to go for a full install or whether you're only going to run a dual battery setup. just to run a fridge,
Yeah.
then it all depends on how you're going to use it, how long you're going to use it. And these are the things that you've got to go and build it towards. You go, this is going to be my majority use. I'm only going to camp for a maximum of 2 days. And then there's a 2 or 3 hour drive involved in that. Either way, right? Or I'm going to go do the Simpson Desert and then go across WA deserts as well to go all the way to Perth. I need something robust that I can pull up and camp for 5 days if I want, because we love it. You have to consider your usage before you go
That's right.
going into these. So usually in your case, yours is going to be a first time. You're going to go, all right, let's use this the first time. You try this out, you go, this got me through, it did everything I needed to do. I come home with 30% battery left. And you're like, there it is.
Perfect, just try it. Yeah.
Maybe I just need to step it up to another one bigger, but I know where I'll sit.
So it's a low price entry point without the commitment of being held hostage to love it.
Correct.
That's the beauty of this, and I think more I talk about it, the more it makes sense for someone like me at this stage of my journey with this. 80% of the time, this is going to be my daily commute. I don't want all this permanently built waiting there, holding me down. I want the luxury of just taking it out, because most of the time I'm not going to use it. The 20% I do, it just makes sense to add it in.
One of the other things was, not long ago, we had a power outage just at home. And I was able to just walk out to the garage. I've got one of these, and I think, because I knew about it, I grabbed another one from the office as well. And I was able to plug in our modem, our TV, some lights, the fridge, and keep everything going. The kids could be watching Netflix, and I was kind of the hero because they were able to message all their friends going, I've got power and we're still watching Netflix. Basic of something like this.
Yeah, I have seen these wagons that go along with the 12 volt. You know, it's got neon lights lighting up the bloody wall. You know, it's got lights lighting up the lights. You know,
I've seen that as well, actually. Yeah,
but it's a lot of money.
it is.
And then what the hell are we doing? I mean, for show cars, I get it, but for usage case on it, none of that matters.
The crazy part is, these are good for around, on this one, I think it's around 5,000 cycles, which equates to, 15 years worth of use out of these batteries.
Touch on a very important point, safety.
Yep.
What type of battery they got in there?
So these all run the lithium iron phosphate.
Okay, which is the safer version of the
Correct.
thing, right?
Your lithium batteries from your scooters that you get on Ting
Yes.
to this are vastly different.
Right.
They use a different cathode. It makes these a bit heavier, and then they can't store as much power as the NMC batteries that they use in these smaller scooters and that sort of stuff, which are a lot more volatile. These are the safest form of lithium that you can find.
Okay.
And even after you've punctured these, there's still a lot of safety involved. Like they're not just going to catch fire unless you're able to get an ignition to them as well.
In the outback, they can get very harsh, very hot, very quickly. In that environment, how robust are these?
Very.
Okay.
So the optimal operating range for these is minus 20 degrees up to 50 degrees Celsius.
Right.
Beyond those, your battery capacity starts to wane. So its ability to store energy starts to fall off as those temperatures either drop or rise.
Right.
One of the things that I notice with a lot of customers is you've got all of your inputs, whether it's AC input, DC output, AC output. You're able to monitor all of that. And if you're like me, that sort of stuff actually makes you a bit interested. So you end up learning more about what the rest of your vehicle and products are doing and how they're working. And it makes your next trip more on top of it.
Interesting point. You're right. I wanted to do this for you guys because these are my questions that I had going into it, from knowing diddly squat about mobile power, how to generate mobile power from 12 volt or a portable power station. But there was something always nagging at the back of my mind, that the portable power station has to be an alternative, has to be an answer, or has to mean something for someone in this hobby.
Absolutely.
And I think for me right now, it does make a lot of sense for me than plunging into a 12 volt. If you have additional questions on a portable power station, leave a comment, ask that question. If you're a 12 volt enthusiast and you want to rubbish this, by all means, rubbish it as well in the comments, because conversation leads to clarity and clarity leads to confidence. Any parting comments?
No, look, I think you're exactly right. It's just looking for a way to dip your toe in, to understand what you're going to need. It's a tough thing to wrap your head around. It took me, even working for the company, it still took me that first 12 months of trying to understand the whole power concept, understand how it converts. It was huge. And for anyone who's just getting into it, man, it's a hard thing to start with.
Looking at this thing, there's so many elements involved in trying to get this machine up to the idea that we all see on YouTube. And believe me, I'm doing a lot of it DIY, so a lot of it is a freaking mess in my head at the moment. But just to get a bit of clarity from a power, that's already helped me ease my stress a lot. Frankly, I'm sick of paying the Land Cruiser tax. I'm really sick of it. Things are not cheap, guys. It's not cheap, and it's, you know, and right now, I think this really hits the sweet spot for me. And this is not sponsored by Bluetti.
Not at all.
Let me stress that. The number one piece of gold advice for anyone getting into this hobby is that think twice before you spend the money, but more importantly, get out there first before you spend the real big dollars.
See, you got to know what you're going to use. You
Yeah,
got to know.
exactly.
And then you go from there.
I mean, exactly. Thank you so much for
Happy
some time.
to come along the journey with you.
Yeah.
This is actually quite fun. Yeah, I like it. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Appreciate it.